We're starting.
Drone cam is rolling.
In 3, 2... Cut! That's a wrap.
Great job.
Thank you so much. Nice work.
Out of all the new characters in Street Fighter 6, my favorite has to be Manon. The beautiful world champion judo model that also fights using ballet. As JP can be seen as a replacement for Bison, Manon can be seen as a replacement for Vega. Also a small thing to mention, but this doesn't mean Marissa is a replacement for Balrog, nor does it mean that Marissa and Manon works for JP. In World Tour mode, there's no implication that they even work for JP, nor are they part of some evil organization or evil faction, so there's that off the table. But let us start with the character analysis of Manon.
If it isn't Bison's little toy, he goes to such great lengths for power, as if his current body weren't ugly enough. I must admit I'll never understand the men like him. Still... I admit I'm intrigued by the idea of creating new bodies to inhabit. Too bad not even a god could reproduce a body as beautiful and graceful as my own. You ugly creature, you. Soon your power will be mine. Then I can ensure that my beauty will live on forever.
I would like to start by talking about Vega, as Vega might help us understand Manon much better. Vega was a vain man whose concept of beauty can border narcissistic and sadistic. Vega views himself as the most beautiful person on the planet and believes himself to be unrivaled in his beauty. He can only see beauty in Cammy and Chun-Li because he views their desperate struggle against an overwhelming force to be beautiful, just like a Greek tragedy. Manon does place a high value in beauty just like Vega, and even see herself as highly beautiful, but where they differ is how they see beauty in others. Manon sees beauty in other people's ambition and drive to be their best self. While Manon loves herself, it comes off as more confidence than narcissism. Manon's idea of beauty can actually be understood and sought after, while Vega's idea is either so vain that it seems beyond understanding, or you have to be Vega himself to get his approval to say that you're a treat in his eyes. Ultimately, Manon takes the concept of a beautiful fighter and actually do something with it, unlike Vega, who has never expanded on beside the concept. To expand on what I mean by nothing is done with Vega, think about it like this. In all the games that Vega has been in, he's mostly just been the same. He hasn't developed, he hasn't changed. There's nothing interesting about him besides he's a beautiful fighter. The only thing that they ever do is slightly hint that he might be a serial killer. But even then, that is very, very, very lightly implied. It's not actually, said in any of the games or concept. It's just very lightly implied in Street Fighter V ending. Arcade ending, I mean. In Street Fighter 2, his ending is that he's so beautiful that he doesn't compare himself to Bison. In Street Fighter Alpha, he finds Cammy beautiful because of her struggle and tragedy. In Street Fighter 4, he finds Chun-Li beautiful because struggle, I guess. He never really explains. And then Street Fighter 5, he finds Cammy beautiful again. You might see what I mean by there's nothing done with this character. He is just a face for punching, and that's really it. This isn't to say that his playstyle or anything like that is undercooked, but more so that the character himself had never been interesting in the first place, or they never done anything interesting in the first place. If I had to be honest, I find him just as interesting as Fang, as in barely at all.
You're strong, Manon. Everyone's always said that to me.
Mato's so strong!
Go, Manon.
Wow, Manon! You're the best!
Manon's strong.
And they're right. I am strong.
Manon, Mommy won't be able to see you anymore. But you're a strong girl, so I know you'll be just fine.
Just fine? I'm more than just fine. Because I'm strong. Whether it's in the Judo ring or on the runway, I'm always the best of the best. Even against other styles, I always come out on top. I am doing just fine.
Let's talk about how Manon became the person she is. At a young age, Manon was trained in Judo, took ballet lessons, and was put in boot camp for 3 years for modeling. We are never told what came first and which is the last event, but we are told that her mother and father were her first motivation in doing so. Judo and modeling were the things that they pushed her into. While Manon was most likely pushed by her parents to do Judo and modeling, it doesn't mean that she hates them, or hates Judo or modeling. In fact, she loves both equally. However, she also says that she finds Judo to be easier than modeling. And that should say something about modeling more than it does about Judo. While what I'm about to say isn't in the game or said by anyone, I believe her mother and father got divorced at a young age. She rarely ever talks about both of them in the same context. It's implied that her father pushed her into Judo, while her mother pushed her into modeling. Also, there's the fact that her arcade intro implies that she is leaving Manon for a very long time, aka possibly losing custody of her. And the custody will probably go to the father. Now, no, I do not believe that she hates or loves them unequally. I believe she loves them both equally. She will continue Judo to the point where she became the world champion Judo master. She will also continue doing modeling and become a star more famous than DJ. Manon, however, would give up on ballet. She would do it for fun, but not for a full career. Despite the massive height she reached, she continued aiming for new heights in other fields using her ability in Judo and modeling. She would discover street fighting. As she discovered more and more about street fighting, she would post her fights online. While DJ disapproved of the idea of someone posting street fighting online, it did get her a lot of views online. And this is where her start to being a street fighter and learning more about combat begins. She will use her Judo as a way to branch herself into trying to be the best of the best.
I could feel someone's eyes on me. It was the first time I had ever seen her face, but I knew it right away. She was just like me. Are you really satisfied just watching? You can't fool me. I can tell. You're into exactly the same thing I'm into. Now that's my idea of fun!
Enjoyed getting yourself a win, did you? Quite a simple-minded approach.
Come again? No, that's not it. At times, a win can feel worse than defeat, after all. The fun part was having the chance to battle with someone as strong as you! Say, do you happen to know the meaning of Pankration? It means all of the might. There are countless fighters all across the world to challenge with all my might. And I get so excited thinking about it that it keeps me awake at night!
You know, I think I got it right the first time. You are simple-minded.
And? Something wrong with that?
No, not in the slightest.
Thought so!
Before talking about what I believe Manon's idea of strength is, I need to explain why she hates being called strong. Again, this is my viewpoint. This doesn't mean that your viewpoint is invalidated, but she more so associates being called strong as an excuse to leave her alone. Because you're strong, Manon. People probably felt she never needed anyone else in her life because she is strong. People probably felt that they didn't need to spar with her because, well, she's strong already. She doesn't need to practice or need any more sparring to become better. She's already the greatest there is. She also associated with her mother leaving her. Because you're strong, Manon, as she leaves her life. Because you're strong, I couldn't beat you. Because you're strong, I don't need to spar with you. Because you're strong, I can leave you and not have to worry. These kind of things can be used as excuses to just leave Manon life. And Manon lives a life of solitude. Her manager have kind of been like impersonal. She had one that was personal, but she didn't get much free time. He has a stricter one now, but she also is isolated now because of that manager. She lives a life so full of solitude that she's kind of used to it and doesn't really believe that she deserves better. In fact, she's so used to walking the catwalk alone that she doesn't really notice that she say, "I'm fine." Instead, it's a reaction. Manon's reaction to beating Marissa is to say she's fine, ready for Marissa to leave, but instead Marissa laughed, happy for the match. For the first time in a while, someone acknowledged Manon as strong, but it wasn't used as an excuse to leave her. To even add to that, Manon was considered strong, not as just a person, but just Manon as a strong person. You may think that's a bit weird, but think about it like this. Some people are, well, attributed to their one strongest trait. For example, Einstein. How many people know about Einstein's other traits? How he was very creative, very obtuse. He was out of the box more so. Most people just knows he's a very smart person. That's how Manon feels whenever people say she's strong. She doesn't feel like people are acknowledging her for who she is, but rather they're acknowledging the strength that she has. Marissa directed herself to Manon, who was stronger than her, rather than an individual who happened to be stronger than her. Manon's idea of strength is one ability to express themselves in who they are to others. This is why Manon fights with grace, judo, and ballet, as they are all forms of who she is and where she came from. Remember how I said that it's implied that the father pushed her into judo and her mother pushed her into modeling? This is exactly what I meant. Her judo, her beauty, her, well, ballet are all things that came from her in her past. That's why her fighting style is so focused on ballet, because it was something she herself did for herself. She did it for fun and not for a career, and she never pursued it for a career. Despite the fact that she herself won the judo medal, she actually made it an accessory for other people to buy. And one might think that, well, isn't that just making the thing cheaper? But in a way, it's more so the idea of passing along who was the person who gave this championship to others. She is making other people acknowledge her as a judo champion, not cheapening the medal. She will always be remembered as a person who won that medal. Manon's stage is in France because, well, she's French, but also because of the fact that it's his traveling carnival. Just like how Manon traveled to other fields to express her judo and modeling, so does this traveling troupe. They are always expressing who they are, just like any traveling troupe. Manon wants people to know Manon is a beautiful, strong person inside and out. Not that she is individually strong and beautiful. To quote Manon in World Tour, to insist that the strong are necessarily beautiful is a kugel, unfit for discussion of aesthetic beauty. The idea to just say someone is born beautiful and that's all it takes, this acknowledges that so many people work hard to keep up their beauty, like working out, learning all types of makeup, etc. Same with people who are born strong, same with people who are born smart. This is acknowledging all the other work that they do for themselves. It may come easy for them after the launch, but it's still a lot of work for them as well. To just say that they are born beautiful is a kugel, and I believe that she said it just right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. And fun fact, her favorite thing to bake is orangettis. It is peeled orange slices made into candy with chocolate. You should try it out.
Yet again. As usual, I'm more than just...
Phew! Now that's what I call a good time!
Oh? A good time, you say? Was this just a game to you?
No, that's not it. Of course I'm upset that I lost, but you know what? Getting to do battle with someone as strong as you was such a thrill!
Strong? Usually I hate when people call me that. I feel a pain in my chest every time I hear it. And yet, the way she said it so bluntly and plainly, it didn't bother me in the slightest.
Next time we fight, the victory will be mine. In fact, how about a rematch right now?
Oh, bye. I'm quite confident I'll win the next time as well. After all, I'm strong, I'll have you know. I've never stopped to consider what true strength is. But I think I already know.